Do you want to go for a walk, Daddy? Did you want to go out? Well, let's go. Come here. Let me get you down. There you go. Here you go. Oh, I forgot something, Daddy. Yeah, travels with Dottie here, and forgive me if I'm taking a minute to kind of get ready, but I kind of wanted to. Got a new headset here that I'm using, and I want to make sure that I'm recording here, and it looks like I am. I think we're doing it. Go on, let's go, Dottie. There's a video I wanted to do today that I thought would be really helpful for a lot of people, but I'm having a little trouble with getting the information. I wanted to do a video on all the major events that are happening in Quartzsite this year, and the dates and what they are and what I know about them. But that idea I got was because someone posted a pretty comprehensive list on Facebook, and I thought I saved it, and I didn't. And boy, I can't find a comprehensive list really anywhere. So I'm going to have to start digging through Facebook, going back, as I tried searching for it. I'm pretty sure it was on Quartzsite Chatter, the Facebook page, but even searching for even searching for just events, it's not coming up. So I think I have to just do a manual search for it. And I think it was over a month ago, so that's a lot of messages to go through. So there is a topic that came up recently. A friend of mine here who has a small trailer like me and likes to boondock and occasionally runs into situations where she needs a lot of power and she would like to be able to run her, occasionally run her air conditioning. And there's lots of information out there on generators and running your air conditioning. In particular, with us with smaller rigs and smaller trucks, it's important for us to have a generator that not only is quiet, but is small. And a classic has been the Honda 2200. It's not cheap, it's expensive. It's over $1,000 for a new one. And it's got 2200, it's rated for 2200 watts, which means, and this is the first thing that I found out that I didn't know, that is not 2200 running watts. That is surge. You cannot run the Honda generator at 2200 sustained power output. You just can't. So that's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned was the running watts are right around 1800. So you can get away with 1800 watts continuous. But let's put a bookmark in that, because there is something important that I do not see on any of these videos that ended up being critical for me this past summer. Now, I have a 15,000 BTU Dometic AC, and that is not even that 2200 surge is not enough to start that. It's not enough power. So what you do see a lot about is soft starts. And here's the thing, is a soft start is wired. I bought one, I think it was about $300, and I paid a technician to install it. A lot of people do it on their own. There's a kit to install it, but you do have to wire it into your air conditioner. So I pay someone to do that. I don't have the expertise or really the willingness to figure that out and hope that I get it right. So that ended up costing me about $500 total, with a couple $100 in labor. Come on, Dottie. Where was I? Since then, I noticed a new product that they have a soft start it doesn't require you to wire it into your AC. It's actually a device that looks almost identical to a surge protector. So you can plug it in line in your 30, or I think there's a 50 amp version. I didn't check on that. I think what I was looking at was a 30 amp version. You just plug it in line like you do the surge protector. And so, but that's double the price. It's $600. But if you're gonna do what I'm gonna do, or what I did, with paying someone to put it in, it would have only cost me $100 more just to get this other device. And it would have been transferable easily if I got a new rig. So what a soft start does, by the way, is, come on, Dottie, is I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong if you're an electrician, I think it's a big capacitor, and it takes the electricity and builds up the charge that's necessary to surge to start the compressor. And I know it works because I easily have been able to run my 15,000 BTU air conditioner in quartzite when needed with my Honda 2200. Not a problem. In all the information I've just given you, there are lots of YouTube videos describing exactly the same thing. But here's information that they don't present. Here's what happened to me. I went to the mountains of New Mexico. And usually in state parks I have hookups, but I didn't this one time. I was outside Las Vegas, New Mexico, not to be confused with Las Vegas, Nevada. I was in a state park and I did not have electricity, and it got hot. And my little generator was faulting every time I ran. Every time I ran the AC, it would fault, and it just wasn't working. And of course, I thought there was something wrong with my generator because it worked perfectly well over the winter. It would run everything else, but it just would not run the AC. Well, I talked to a Honda tech. I brought it to a local small engine repair guy, and none of them had the answer. They were thinking they had several theories about what might be wrong with the generator, and then they had theories about what may be wrong with my electrical system in my trailer. And they just didn't understand what might be happening. And they just said, you got to bring it in for service. And I decided, since bringing it in for service wasn't an option where I was, it was, very far away for an authorized Honda service center. I just couldn't do it. So I decided, well, I'm going to buy a new generator and I'll just have the Honda repair it and sell it. And I'll buy a bigger one. So I did. Not important what I bought. I bought something I'm really happy with. But what I discovered after the fact was this. A critical question the Honda tech did not ask me is, can you tell me what elevation you're at? Ends up, that's a pretty critical piece of information given the symptoms. Because in my subsequent research, I found that these engines, these internal combustion engines, lose 3% of their power for every 1,000 feet of elevation. Now, there are kits that you can do to adjust carburetor. I think they're called jet settings that can compensate for that, but that wasn't an option for me. And it turns out that the problem wasn't the generator, it was the altitude. It was just barely at almost sea level, or what is it, 800 feet or something in quartzite. It ran without a hiccup. But when I added 6,000 feet to that, which is 18% of the power, guess what? It didn't work. So that's really something to consider if you're in a small rig and you want a generator that'll run your AC. Think about where you're going to be. Because really, I found that the generator, the compressor would kick on, and it would go at 1,700 watts plus change, which, like, the tech was asking me what's it running at, and he says, well, it shouldn't be cutting off there, but he wasn't asking the question about elevation. Because really at elevation, the running wattage is more like 1,500. I mean, I'm doing the math in my head here, so it's probably not exactly right, but it's below what I needed for my AC. So that's important information for RVers that like to boondock, and you like to, in the summer, you like to take advantage of increased elevation. Just remember, if you buy one of these that are 2,000 or rated at 2,000, 2,200, and they're like a lot of them that aren't $1,000, that aren't Hondas, but they're going to have the same problems. The generator that I got, of course, I went way overboard, and I bought a 5,000 watt generator that is a combination. That's 5,000 surge. So the running, I think, is 3,600 on gas, and it also runs on propane, so I think it's 3,500 on propane, which is far in excess of what I need to run my AC. So I went overboard a little bit, but that's what I do. Anyway, I thought that may be helpful information for somebody, because it's kind of a little bit of an inconvenience when you're up in the mountains and you get a heat wave and you're miserable and the generator that you spent $1,000 on isn't working. There's more to this story, and I'll just tell you a little bit more, because the first thing I did to buy a new generator is there was a tractor supply like a mile away from the campground. So I went there and I bought a Champion generator that wasn't dual fuel, but it was big. It was, and I think it was about $800. And I think it was a 4,000, not quite a 5,000, or 4,500, I believe it was. So again, way more than I needed. And I took it to camp and I set it up, and it kept, it has a carbon monoxide detector that shuts it off, and it kept shutting off even though it was just sitting out and nothing was around it. So it turns out it was defective. So I returned it and went to Harbor Freight, because they didn't even have another one of those to replace it with. It was the only one in stock at the time. And I was kind of bummed about Champion. So I went to Harbor Freight, and they had one. After I did a bunch more research, the one that I got, the 5,000 dual fuel, and it was funny that I couldn't get it from Harbor Freight, which was 2 miles away, but closed indefinitely because of a water crisis in Las Vegas, where there was torrential rains and their water infrastructure was severely damaged. So only essential businesses were allowed to be open. So I had to drive to Santa Fe to go buy one, which I did. And I've been pretty happy with it. It's a lot bigger, takes up a lot more space, a lot heavier. That's kind of a bummer. And the final irony is that after that brief stay for 2 weeks in Las Vegas, where I didn't have hookups, I had hookups for the rest of the summer, and I will for the whole summer next summer. So I don't anticipate being anywhere other than Quartzsite, where I'm going to be boondocking for like 4 months, where I could potentially ever need that kind of power to run my AC, and the Honda would have done just fine. And I still haven't sold the Honda. I still have, so I have 2 generators. And the reason I haven't sold the Honda is, one, when I get down to Quartzsite, I want to run it a bunch just to make sure that it still is running the AC at that elevation, and to solidify the theory that that the elevation was the problem, which I'm 99 and 44 100ths sure that that's the case. But I want to make sure before I sell it, because if it doesn't work in Quartzsite perfectly running my AC, then I'll have to get it to an authorized repair shop and have it repaired before I sell it. It's easily, it'll go like a little hotcake for $500, because they're going for, $600 plus $100 or $120 shipping on eBay. So if I sell, somebody will buy it in Quartzsite for sure. I'll just have to put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I'll probably be gone in an hour. Anyway, is that everything? What do you think, Dottie? Is that everything? You want your breakfast? Good girl. You hungry? Dottie, who's that? Who's that, Dottie? You guys are on camera. Don't say anything dirty. Don't, no dirty jokes.
Oh, did you hear what about it?
Hey, so that is going to be today's video. If you have any questions about, like what generator I bought and that kind of stuff, ask them in the comments. But I'll put links to the Honda, the old one, and the Harbor Freight one, the new one, in the description if you want to go there. And also, I'll try to find a place that looks pretty legitimate to me that talks about the 3% per 1,000 feet, and I'll try to link if I can find a legit looking article on that. I'll link that as well in the description. I appreciate you hanging in there with me and watching my videos. Take care. See you tomorrow.